It just takes 20 hours to change your life every single week so you can get your first wholesaling real estate deal. 20 hours, that is all I'm asking. If you can dedicate yourself 20 hours this week, every week for the rest of this year, I promise you, you will get your first wholesaling real estate deal and you will change your life. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I want to break down exactly how you can dedicate 20 hours in your wholesaling real estate business so you can actually change your life. I've done over 1,000 real estate wholesaling deals, and I've trained hundreds of thousands of wholesalers to get into wholesaling real estate. And I've seen a thing or two, so I can tell you exactly, I know how it takes and what it takes to become successful in this business. And the word of the day today is going to be leverage. And what do I mean by leverage? What I mean by leverage is, no, you don't have to work 40 hours a week to become successful in wholesaling real estate. You only need 20. Now, what you're really gonna do is need 40 hours of work. And before you stress out, you're like, wait, Zach, why is that possible? Why can I do 20 when I actually need 40? The power is leverage. We're actually gonna do 40 hours a week worth of work in only 20 hours a week. So if you have a full-time job, kids, family, maybe just $0 at all, I'm gonna show you the exact strategies that I've used, I've taught so many other people to do to become successful in local wholesaling and in virtual wholesaling real estate. But before I break it down, do me a big favor, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. So the whole point of this video is for 20 hours, what do you do? How do you become successful? What is the plan of attack here? And the plan of attack is pretty simple. High quality, high volume, and constant follow-up. This will lead you to great results. So the first question is, Zach, okay, I gotta do 20 hours a week of work. What do I do for those 20 hours? Like, how much do I spend with cash buyers? How much do I do for list polling, motivated sellers, networking, marketing? This is all really confusing for me. How should I dedicate my time? Now, I know for most wholesalers watching this, you don't have an exact 20 hours like to the T. Some people might have 19 hours, some people might have 22 hours. One week you might have 25 hours, and the other week you might only have 15 or 16, right? Life is crazy, life is different, I totally get it. You should subscribe to the 3-1-1 split. And this is basically a split of how you should dedicate your time. So for every 5 hours you're wholesaling real estate, you should split that up into these 3 splits. So for 5 hours of wholesaling, you should probably spend 3 hours doing marketing, talking to sellers, cold calling, text blasting, list polling, whatever it is that's producing leads for you, spend 3 hours on that. Then you should spend an extra hour on acquisitions, follow-ups, appointments, whatever it takes to actually get contracts signed and closed and delivered. And the last one is where we're gonna put an hour into cash buyers, title companies, closings, following up on deals you already have under contract. And really, when you follow this split, it's gonna work really well. So if you're working 20 hours in a week in wholesaling real estate, it's gonna look really similar to a 12-4-4 split, where in that week, you probably spent 12 hours cold calling, text blasting, list polling, everything you possibly can do. And about 4 hours, acquisitions, follow-ups, appointments, and an extra 4 hours with cash buyers, polling them, finding them, and getting the right title company. And if any extra time in this little split, I would add that into the marketing side. Maybe you have 13 or 14 hours, not 12. I would probably do drawing for dollars and reverse drawing for dollars for that specific split. So the question is, why is marketing the top one? I thought I'm supposed to spend 99% of my time with cash buyers and the world is falling in wholesaling. Guys, don't believe any of these broke wholesaling gurus out here. Wholesaling real estate is still mostly about marketing. Finding the deal is still the hardest part in wholesaling real estate. Finding cash buyers is getting slightly harder than it was last year, but getting deals is actually a lot easier than it was last year too. So it's all yin and yang, they all offset, it's a zero-sum game here. I recommend if you only have 20 hours, and let's say, I don't know if you're doing virtual or local, we can do both of these strategies. I would 100%, starting off the bat, cold call government lists. Now, this is going to be a lot different than cold calling a regular high equity or tired landlord list, because a lot of your competition might be doing that. And I can tell you, as somebody that cold call 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for a year straight, it gets very boring and very long and winded to cold call 5 hours a day. Boom, 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 boom. My splits were all off. I was doing 30, 40 hours a week of marketing when I was in college doing wholesaling real estate virtually. Government lists are gonna have that thing that I talked about in the beginning called leverage. If I cold call, let's say 1,000 probates, that would probably equal to me cold calling 5 or 6, even 7,000 high equity leads. So for every call I make, it's equal to me making actual 7 calls on a regular Joe Schmo list, because probates have the best bang for your buck. This is very similar if we're putting really, really good gasoline in a car. Now, it's even crazier than that. So for an example, if I get 30 miles to the gallon in a regular car, but I put special gasoline in it, I can probably get 210 miles a gallon on it. Now, Gasoline's a little different than how it works, but if we're putting better fuel in, we can leverage things out. This is why me, Zach all swollen, ripped, not really, but the most I can carry is probably 300 or 400 pounds for like a second, okay? Like with a barbell, stuff like that, right? But I could only carry something 300 pounds, probably, let's say 30, 40 feet, and that's probably going to destroy my body, right? If I put something that's 300 pounds on a dolly, which is that thing with wheels that you can just put something up and boom, and you just put it on wheels and you can push it around, I could probably pull that thing for miles and miles without any strain on me, because the amount of work is being done the same, but it is just so much easier to use a dolly than just carrying it yourself. You're not using the muscles, you're just pulling and pushing with a wheel. It makes life a lot easier. That's why you can travel a lot faster with a bike than by walking. And that's really what I'm talking about with leverage. You're using a lever, right? You can lift things with a lever. That's why levers are so important. You can literally do an hour worth of work and make that actually 7 hours what your competition does. So cold calling government lists are going to be that exact. Probates are the best one. If I do like a code violation, or let's say even a drawing for dollars lead, that's probably going to equal 3 to 4 times leverage on the average wholesaling real estate list. And not to mention, you're saving time and you're saving a ton of money, and you're saving a lot of stress off of you from cold calling 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So really, with you cold calling, let's say 3 hours a day, that's equal to somebody cold calling 9 hours a day of work. This is why leveraging really good, high motivated government lists is going to be the key for you for being successful. And the question might be like, Zach, are these lists super magical? Like, why do they work so well? The honest truth is, it's because number one, they're actually more motivated than the average real estate wholesaling seller for high equity or retired landlord. And number two, it's actually a little more difficult to get the list. I mean, sometimes a lot more difficult. And this basically means that less wholesalers are actually going to go after it. And I hate to say it, I don't want to go after my own generation, but a lot of people my age, if they try to pull a government list, a code violation, and the lady says no the first time, they just give up and say, oh, I tried my best. When really, you got to keep going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times till you actually get that stinking list. And that's the reason why every wholesaler in your county or city doesn't have that list, because it's actually really hard to get it. But once you get it, it's easier to get the second time, and not a lot of wholesalers talk to that list. I get so many people complaining to me like, Zach, I'm cold calling and everyone's talking to sellers and my market's too saturated, it's the worst thing ever. And I'm like, why don't you just deal with the pain of getting a really good list first and not the pain of cold calling a saturated list? Because you're gonna have to deal with struggle and pain in your wholesaling real estate business. Either you deal with the struggle and pain of pulling a list up front and having a lot of happiness cold calling a list with not a lot of competition, or go through the easiness and the happiness of pulling a really simple list, but going through the struggle of cold calling a really saturated list. And how do you pull these government lists, the water shut off, fire damage properties, code violations, probates, tax delinquencies, arrest records, yada, yada, yada. Just go to freewholesaling.com, my free real estate wholesaling course, and I'll show you exactly step-by-step how to pull this list absolutely for free. The next part on here I would probably add is reverse drawing for dollars. Now reverse drawing for dollars is the strategy of actually getting sticky notes and slapping them on top of houses. Basically saying something like, hey, this is Zach, I had a quick question about your property. Please give me a call back. They work really well. It's an amazing strategy to do. And it's something I do teach at freewholesaling.com a million times over. I would reverse drive for dollars the government list. On top of that, I would find ugly houses, just regular driving for dollars, and slap sticky notes on top of that. Leveraging the driving for dollars, reverse driving for dollars, and government list together with the cold calling is gonna be the best bang for your buck time for your marketing. The next thing you can do too, if you have any extra time, is just leverage your time even more. So maybe you JV with some wholesalers. Maybe if you're doing local wholesaling and you have a really good cash buyers list and you find some people that are virtually wholesaling that have deals locked up but they can't sell them and you know it's a good deal, why don't you do a JV agreement and JV with that person, joint venture, and split the profits 50-50 for you finding the cash buyer. Ever since I made this dang YouTube channel, so many virtual wholesalers have tried to wholesale in my market. And it's actually a lot more difficult to find buyers in my market, but I have 6 years of finding buyers, so I have all of them basically. I know them all by a first name basis, where I can just JV in my own market and make a ton of money. It's a great opportunity for me, and it produces hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for me every single year. Now, if you have some more money and you don't want to be pulling these type of lists, or maybe you have a lot more time on your hands, I still don't recommend hiring a VA until you at least made $100K a year. But what I would recommend is to add some more paid marketing strategies. Maybe start paying for a list, right? Maybe you go to listaria.com or zachdata.com and start pulling this list only after you use all the government lists you possibly can. Maybe you add some SMS text blasting on here, maybe a little bit of direct mail on the probates. You can start leveraging your time even more, because SMS is a really good lever on your time because it's a lot more expensive, but it's a lot less time intensive than cold calling. Now, I'm not saying skip cold calling off the bat, but just add SMS if that's something you want to do. Basically from there, you're gonna get a lot of deals locked up, a lot of leads, and start going on appointments. You're gonna need to sell your deal. Now with only 20 hours, remember that 12-4-4 split's gonna be still perfect. Find your cash buyers, Now you gotta do time effective ways to find cash buyers. So this is why I recommend the big 4 for finding cash buyers. These are going to local property auctions. In an hour or two, you can bang out probably 30 or 40 cash buyers. Go to Facebook groups. In under 30 minutes, you can probably pull 30 really good cash buyers. DM them, of course, and email them. Cold call the cash sales. That takes a little more time. But within an hour or two, you could probably pull 10 really good cash buyers out and the realtors with them. And last but not least, cold calling the 4 rents. This is a fresh list of landlord buyers that are ready to buy in your local market, ready to go. Guys, this is how you leverage your time to get the best results possible in wholesaling real estate. I promise you, it's only 20 hours a week. Maybe you get a little less sleep, maybe you make a little more sacrifices, but if you can find the 20 hours a week, you will do it. And if you can't find the 20 hours a week, give as much time as you can. Here's the thing about time, guys. Either you find time or time finds you. There will always be an excuse why not to get into wholesaling real estate, why you should do it tomorrow. But really, once you start eliminating the excuses and actually start getting into it and start changing your life, this business will change your life forever. Get it going, take action, eliminate the excuses, and if you want to get the results, the actions must equate. If you got any value from this video, do me a big favor. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. Go to freewholesaling.com, my free real estate wholesaling course, and I'll see you guys soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.